What's up guys, and welcome to my Silver Wolf SP guide. In this video I'm taking you over everything you do need to know in order to understand and build Silver Wolf, including a kit overview, Lightcone recommendations, Relic Stat and Ornament recommendations, and the stats you want to run for main stat and substats.
Stuck grinding in Honkai Star Rail? Need Stellar Jades fast? We've got you covered. Head over to U7 Buy, your ultimate gaming hub for save it fast and cheap in-game top-ups. Whether it's Star Rail or your other favorite games, U7 delivers instantly and players love it. Check out their Trustpilot reviews, they're actually top ranked. On the Honkai Star Rail direct top-up page, you can recharge your account in seconds. For example, 8080 Honorific shards cost $99.99 in the official store, but on U7 Buy, you can see here it's way cheaper. Just pick your server, enter UID, pay securely, and boom, your account is instantly loaded. Want extra savings? Use code PRETSR at checkout for 5% off, perfect for last minute pulls, battle passes, or surprising a friend. And here's a bonus. If you spend $80 a month on U7 Buy, you can grab the Honkai Star Rail Express Pass for only 1 cent, which is nearly free. Click on the link in my description, recharge fast, save more, and keep blazing those trails.
Silver Wolf's basic attack does imaginary damage equal to her attack. Her skill grants 5 punchline points and also does imaginary damage based off her attack to all enemies. It's actually better if we go off her talent before we go into ultimate or the enhanced basic attack, so her talent will allow Silver Wolf to activate her ultimate when reaching 60 hidden MMR points. Hidden MMR can overflow by an additional 240 points. Silver Wolf gains hidden MMR equal to the amount of times you are gaining punchline. Each point of hidden MMR will also increase Silver Wolf's crit rate by 0.4%. Once her crit rate reaches 100%. Afterwards, any hidden MMR points will be increasing our crit damage by 0.8%. While in the God mode player state, which is her ultimate state, Silver Wolf will be immune to crowd control debuffs, cannot use her ultimate, and will gain an enhanced basic attack and an enhanced elation skill. When she uses her enhanced basic attack 3 times, she will exit the ultimate state, and when she exits her ultimate state, hidden MMR will be cleared. While she has certified banger, using basic attack or skill against an enemy target will deal 40% imaginary elation damage, and the enhanced basic attack ability damage is converted to the elation damage at the same multiplier. Ultimate itself will allow her to enter God mode player state as we did mention, and also a 100% action advance for Silver Wolf. She will also deploy a zone. While she has certified banger, each time an ally target within the zone consumes a skill point, there's a chance to trigger a top loot box from Silver Wolf, which will deal imaginary elation damage equal to 90% split evenly among all enemies, and will have a random trigger chance as well. One of them deals an additional true damage multiplier to the enemy with the highest HP equal to 20% of total damage dealt in the attack. One recovers 2 skill points, and another one will gain 3 punchline. The initial fixed chance to trigger the effect is 100%, and after every trigger, the fixed chance will be reduced to 20% of the current chance, and if the enemy target is defeated before triggering, the effect triggers on the enemy targets that enter the battlefield. The enhanced basic attack is going to be the main source of damage she does have, which will deal imaginary damage based off her attack, but do remember with their talent it is going to be converted to elation that is split evenly among 100 bounces that hit random enemy targets. After bouncing a certain number of times, the bouncing pauses and triggers top loot box 1 time for a total of 3 times. If every enemy takes fatal damage during the ability will end. After enemy targets that can be attacked emerges, gains 1 extra turn and uses the ability again based on the remaining bounces and top loot box triggers. The first time the effect triggers per turn, all her buffs will be extended by 1 turn, and once you do finish all the above damage instances, Silver Wolf unleashes a final hit dealing imaginary damage based off 100% of her attack or just 100% elation that is also split evenly across all enemies. Enhanced basic attack can't recover skill points, and for every 60 points of hidden MMR, damage dealt by the enhanced basic attack increases by 15% of the original damage, stacking up to 2 times, so 30% of its original damage. Her technique summons a bean that also doesn't consume technique points, but when you do reach 0, the summon will be dispelled. It will automatically search for enemies to attack, and when it's hitting normal enemies, it will automatically defeat them, similar to characters like Phynon and Acheron. It consumes 1 technique when it is defeating an enemy, and also it will not actually instantly defeat elite enemies or higher. If you do run into them, it will just kind of wait for you to attack and enter in combat with the technique active. 1 instance of top loot box from the bean is triggered at the start of each wave. Elation damage though in this instance takes into account of a fixed amount of 99 certified banger points. So for her elation skill, the regular one when you are not in her ultimate will just grant 15 hidden MMR points, and the one in her God mode will deal 6 instances of damage, with each instance dealing 90% imaginary elation damage to a random enemy, and will reset the fixed chance to trigger top loot box to the initial value. Her A2 will increase her elation by 50% when reaching 160 speed or higher. For every 1 excess speed past that, the unit's elation will increase by 2%, up to a max of 100 excess speed can be taken into account. Her A4, if the punchline is taken into account when using an elation skill, is 20 or more, Silver Wolf will gain an extra 20 hidden MMR points. If 40 or more, gains an additional 20 on top of that. And her A6 will give 20 hidden MMR when entering her ultimate state. Finally, for her Eidolons, her E1 will increase the damage taken by enemy targets by 20% in her zone, and leaving the Godborn player's state, hidden MMR will be actually providing a 20% refund rather than fully clearing it. Her E2 will extend all the buffs on her by 1 turn when she is entering her ultimate state, and for every 120 points of hidden MMR, including the initial hidden MMR increased, Silver Wolf gains an extra turn and regains 1 use of enhanced basic attack. Her E4 will increase the elation damage dealt by her enhanced elation skill by making it additionally take into account punchline points times 5. So whatever your current value is, times that by 5. And her E6 will make the elation damage dealt by her enhanced basic attack by 50%. Enemies entering combat will be inflicted with absolute weakness, which will have all-time weakness and all-time base res reduced to 0. And if their base res is already 0, the corresponding type res will be decreased by 20%. When it comes to Lightcones, of course her best one is going to be her signature, providing the wearer 18% speed. Elation damage now ignores 20% of the target's defense, and when the wearer uses ultimate on themselves, gains 20 punchline, triggering 1 time and reset after 3 basic attacks. Speed is super important on Silver Wolf, so getting 18% speed is really good, especially speed percentage buffs are good on her as well since she does have higher than average base speed. Nonetheless, this is still going to provide you close to around 20 speed and having a really high speed requirement of around 200 at base before any buffs, or at least around 190. This is going to help significantly with building her, since there's not really a diminishing return on building her with speed, since she has a whole 260 cap, and there's always the gaining extra turns outside of that. On top of that, all the elation damage she does deal is just going to do more damage now, which is all her source of damage being 20% elation defense ignore. So if you have even more sources of defense ignore on the team from support Eidolons or any defense shreds, this becomes more and more valuable. And the last part works on her perfectly anyway, since now when you use her ultimate, which she does use it on herself to go under ultimate, you also gain 20 punch side and also is only triggered once, which you will reset after 3 basic attacks, which you use 3 basic attacks in her ultimate anyways, hence why it does actually work perfectly. So this light code is far and none her best in slot. Besides that, the other best in slot would be the battle pass light code, providing 12% crit rate for the wearer, and when the wearer uses an elation skill, increases elation by 12%, stacking up to 2 times, and at S5 it's 20% for both values. Very simple. You still do want to build her with a good crit ratio, even though she is able to overcap and overflow, so this also helps you a lot with that. And then also you can just get a good elation increase that stacks up to 2 times just by using elation skill, which you're gonna have a lot. And it also lasts throughout the entire battle, so you just need to use elation skill twice, which usually you'll have one before you go to ultimate and then one after, not too long later. So it is just very easy to stack this up, so it's a big elation increase as well, which makes this another fantastic option and the second best option she does have. Technically, you can also use Yagwag's signature on her as well, since it also provides a speed increase. The only thing is you would have to be able to clear really quickly, since this actual buff is going to run out very quick. Since you're not using ultimate on an ally, you are just going to only have the one where you enter combat, so you will be holding Great Fortune, which will increase the team's crit rate by 10% and crit damage by 30%. Unfortunately, the energy regen increase and the fixed rate of energy increase is also just whatever, since she doesn't function off regular energy. So again, this is a lot more niche just because it provides you the good speed increase that her signature does as well, and also a temporary increase of crit rate and crit damage for the team. But if you have this, you probably already have Yagwag holding it anyways and not a spare one. But if you just happen to have it laying around, it can work, but just do remember this is very inconsistent, since you will literally only have this for 3 turns. After 3 turns, you will have no way to actually get this back, but within those 3 turns, it is usable, which is the only reason I'm mentioning it, since there's not many other options. Free-to-play Lightcone Adventures also does work, with the wearer getting an elation increase, and when the wearer uses elation skill, increases elation damage taken by all enemies by 6%, and also gets 20% when at S5, with 10% elation vulnerability. Since you can actually use this Lightcone on multiple characters, it also just does work well. Free elation increase is just going to increase their damage, and then you can also inflict them with elation vulnerability, so anytime you do elation damage to them, which will be always, they will just be taking more damage. So this is also a good free-to-play option you can use if you don't have any of the other ones I did mention. For Relic Sets, the main 4-piece you want to use is the 4-piece Everglorious Magical Girl set, providing 16% crit damage from the 2-piece, and the 4-piece provides 10% defense ignore for elation damage, and for every 5 accumulated punchline allies gained, elation damage additionally will ignore 1% of the target's defense, stacking up to 10 times. So you can get total up to 20% defense ignore. Very simple yet effective. 2-piece is just good because you do build her with crit. 4-piece defense ignore is just universally good. If you also have her light code, this stacks very well with it as well. And the requirement is very easy, as all these elation teams, you generate so much amount of punchline. So just throughout the battle, you need to generate a grand total of 50. Once you generate 50, you just have the full 20% defense ignore value, and it's not going to reset or anything, you just have it. Especially if you have your best and saw team with someone like Sparksy on the team. But even if you don't have Sparksy and you just have someone like Yao Guang, it's really easy to generate it. So for her best damage output, as long as you are hitting the speed requirements and stuff, this is very good. Technically, you can also use the divider set, since the 2-piece increases speed and the 4-piece will be able to increase the wearer's crit rate based off the amount of speed they do have. So 120/160 will be a 10%/18% increase to crit rate. It's not better than the Glorious set, but it still does work because 2 pieces speed increase, so that's good for Silver Wolf, and can provide you up to 18% crit rate just for building her normally, since you want to have much higher than 160 speed. And the last part only works if no one on the team is holding this, but there's probably going to be someone holding this. If you have Yao Guang, she's holding this. If you have Elation MC but you don't have Yao Guang, she's going to be holding this, or they are going to be holding this. So for the most part, you actually will have the last part active, but the actual effect you will, and it is relatively a usable one. Again, not better than the Glorious one, but if you just happen to get really unlucky and you're just getting good pieces on this that are usable while you do farm the Glorious set, you can use that. Otherwise, you will just be doing 2-piece speed, 2-piece speed. That's like the only 2 pieces you want to do. So you do 2-piece divider set with a 2-piece warrior goddess, 2-piece relieved ordeal, or 2-piece hackerspace. Those are the ones that all increase speed by 6%. 2-piece speed, 2-piece speed is going to be the best 2 pieces you can do. You can do 2-piece crit, but it's not going to be as good. So if you need crit rate, you can do Scholar or World Ranking Deliverer, and if you need crit damage, you can do Wave Strider or Ever Glorious Magical Girl. But again, 2-piece, it's going to mainly go to 2-piece speed sets. Ornaments, the only one you really want to use is the Punk Lord one. Increases the wearer's elation by 8%, and reaching 40%/80% elation for the first time in combat will increase the wearer's crit damage by 20%/32%. So extra elation and also extra crit damage for just playing her. Since going into battle, you probably have much more than 80% elation, and if you for some reason drop below that, you will already have it since you just need to reach it once. So it is just a free 32% increase to crit damage, and is also one of the only sets she can really use, since the only thing that works on her when it comes to ornaments is going to be the crit damage, which this does provide, or just crit in general, and then also elation increase, which this is the only set that does. If you're really down bad and you are farming something, by something I mean you're farming the Punk Lord piece, you can run one of the ones that do increase speed, like the Giant Tree for 6% speed, or also Forge for the 6% speed. They're not actually going to be utilized because their actual effects still work on her. It's just for the fact they provide speed. That's literally it. And the last one would be Izamo. Unfortunately, attack is useless, but you can get 12% crit rate from this. So if your crit rate is lacking, then you can run this, as you always will probably have one other Elation character, be it Sparksy, be it Yao Guang, be it even Elation MC. You will be able to mostly activate this actual set. But unfortunately, again, attack is completely worthless. You're just mainly focusing on the crit rate. So again, really just get the Punk Lord set. For the main sets on the relics, for the body, primarily you're going to be doing crit damage as you want to fish for crit rate rolls, but if you are struggling to get crit rate rolls, you can very much run crit rate, no problem with that. For the feet, you want to run speed. For the orb and also the link rope, you just run HP percent or defense percent, as she has no need for anything else. So the survivability ones are just better, so she is more tanky. For the subsets, first, technically speed is going to be the requirement because you do want to reach 160 speed at a bare minimum. But realistically, you want to build much more than that. You want to have around 190 at least. That's a good stopping point. If you can get to 200 outside of battle, that's going to be ideal. Past the speed goal, it is just your generic crit rate, crit damage. Crit rate getting around to the 70% or 80% is going to be good. Closer you can get to 100% is good, especially since you can start the actual overcap quicker. And the crit damage, just getting as much as you can, is also nice. You don't have to focus on it too much, since you probably will be having a good amount converted. Do account for stuff like Yao Guang Lightcone as well, since Yao Guang Lightcone also does provide a good amount of crit rate. So again, just aiming for around 70% to 80% crit rate is going to be good. However, if you're running a crit rate body, then ideally even higher than that. Crit damage, just getting it around 140% to 150% or higher is going to be good. The more the better, but you don't have to, again, focus on it as much, since a good amount of crit damage will be converted thanks to her hidden MMR becoming crit values. So keep that in mind. That is it for the Silver Wolf SP guide. I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, drop a like, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of style content. And I'll see you later. Peace out.